Everybody, I am here today with your local emo girlfriend, Brittany Jade. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
I'm fantastic. I'm a little sick. My voice is a little off, so this is not how I normally sound. I'm a little bit nasally than normal, but I'm here to chat a lot about non-wrestling stuff today because you got a lot of cool things about you, Brittany. First of all, I mean, you are the local emo girlfriend. Have you always been an emo child at heart?
Um, basically, my dad was a kid that had a kid, so I was raised on like Rage Against the Machine and all of that, and like it transferred into like The Used and My Chemical Romance and Hawthorne Heights and all of that.
Yeah, and going back to your childhood, I know for a little bit you went to college and all of that. You got to wrestling pretty young, but didn't consider it as a career path for a little bit. What did your younger self envision your older self doing?
So I always knew I wanted to do wrestling, but my family was like kind of mean to me and they were just like, "Oh, like any kid with like a dream that's not so tangible." It was obviously like like you need to like go to college and get a
Yeah.
degree, blah blah blah. And then in college, I spent so much money. I was just like, "I don't like this. I'm dropping out." And here we are.
I'm curious, what were you just going for, like a GED? Or I think you said it was in Asheville, I think is where it was,
Yeah,
which I'll
I
be I'll be visiting there next month, so I'm super excited. Anything you can tell me about it would be greatly appreciated. Go on.
I am from Asheville. I live in Charlotte, but I am
Yeah,
from
yes,
Asheville. I
yes.
graduated from Asheville High. I went to the University of Asheville. I lived on campus. My major was undecided because I never knew what I wanted to do, so I
Yeah.
was just dilly dallying. But I actually, weird fact, I have a minor in classics because that was the only thing I was interested in and the only thing that I really like picked up on. So I was like really good at translating Latin and knowing about the Greek world. So I just kept doing like Latin 1, Latin 2, Latin 3, Latin 4, and all that. So I have a minor in classics for zero reason.
I love that though. I took Latin and they had us take it in middle school, so like sixth, seventh grade. I still remember a fair amount of it, but most of it growing up was a lot of Spanish. But I'm really fascinated by the Greek and the Roman mythology and
Mm-hmm.
all of that stuff. I'm curious, do you even use that at all in your life at all, or is it just kind of in the back of your head?
It's in the back of my head, but like if anybody like around me speaks any language, almost every language was rooted from Latin. Like I can
Yeah.
kind of pick up on what you're saying. Like I know 10% of what you're saying, which is kind of helpful as a bartender. So like if I'm listening in on somebody, I can like pick up a word or two. I can't speak Latin anymore because I can't practice it with anybody. There's like
Yeah.
hardly anybody in the world that speaks Latin anymore unless like it's your life. And it
Yeah.
stopped being my life when I like left college. Me and my professor used to like speak it back and forth, but
Yeah, it's weird. I can still sing some like we used to learn like some of the Christmas songs. So like I can sing some of those still and like still conjugate some verbs and stuff. But like you said, a lot of the like romance languages are based and rooted in Latin. So
Mhm.
I find that extremely fascinating. But at the beginning of this, we've clearly established you're an emo girl, but your social media handles are at Sad Hooligan, which gives a little bit of a similar vibe. I'm curious, where does Sad Hooligan come from? Do you kind of have
So
an origin story behind that?
I do. So kind of like going back to like the like local emo girlfriend. It's like a I don't want to say emo band. It was back when like metalcore was like really like a top genre, like in the like I guess alternative music scene, and I really resonated with this band Issues before they were canceled, guys. Before they were canceled, I really was like into Issues, and they called their fans hooligans, and they had a song called "Sad Ghost," and that happened to be my favorite song. And then I was late on the Instagram train, and I didn't know what to make my handle, so Sad Hooligans Sad Hooligan just came about from like that little metalcore band, and I guess it kind of fits still a little bit.
Which now that I'm looking at your shirt, are you wearing a ghost shirt?
Yeah, I am. I have a spooky hoodie
On
on.
theme, period. It is. I've already got started getting some of my Halloween stuff, and I'm so
Halloween.
I'm so excited. And, speaking of social media, I admittedly took a bit of a deep dive into your Instagram, and one post definitely popped me in particular. And I want to clarify that this was not me. This was in reference to Ella Envy, not me. There was a clip of you giving her a swinging leg hook slam, and the caption of the video says, because she said she likes mint chocolate ice cream. First of all, thank you, Brittany, because I don't like a mint chocolate
Mm-mm.
chip ice cream at
I
all, and
hate it.
people
I
give me shit
hate
for
it.
it.
I
So
hate
can we
it.
just talk about for a moment our mutual hatred of mint chocolate chip ice cream, Brittany?
Yes, it's foul. Like, do you put chocolate chips on your toothpaste in the morning? Like, what the hell are people doing? Like, that is foul.
No.
Disgusting. It's no.
See, I'm the same. Like, I can do mint. Like, I love mint. Otherwise, like, toothpaste is fine and gum is fine. Like, mints is fine. What else? I don't do mint cookie. Like, mint with chocolate, anything. Just to me, I
Yeah.
can't do it. Like, it's fine on its own. It's fine in like gums and mints and toothpaste. But mixing it with chocolate and ice cream just isn't it for me. So I just want to thank you, Brittany, because a
That,
lot of people have been
yeah.
giving me shit for that take.
No, I am on your team. Like, I am on your team on this one. Like, it's not for the girlies. I'm sorry. Mint chocolate ice cream, not for the girlies.
I'm
No.
going to clip that just so people see that I'm not alone. So thank you. But, talking about yourself too, you definitely seem to be a tattoo enthusiast too. Is that safe to say?
Yes, I stopped counting tattoos once I hit 30.
Yeah, I mean, you have a lot, and we definitely probably don't even see all of them, because obviously your gear, your hoodies,
Mhm.
and all of that sometimes cover them. But what about your first tattoo? Do you remember when and what exactly it was, and kind of the story behind that?
Yes. My first tattoo was actually my biggest tattoo. It's those big yellow pink roses that everybody
Yeah,
sees from my kneecap up all the
yeah.
way up my thigh. That took 2 sessions. Each session was about like 5 to 6 hours of just laying there. It's my biggest tattoo. So that was my first one at 18. Like on my 18th birthday, I got that tattoo.
I'm curious, is there kind of a significance behind it? Or I know some people go for the aesthetic too. That's kind of what they like about, or was it both?
So me and my dad have matching yellow roses. My late grandmother, who always loved wrestling as well, she would sit and watch Friday Night SmackDown with me. She was a florist, and her favorite flower was a yellow rose, and like it became my favorite flower. So when I was finally old enough, me and my dad got like matching yellow roses.
I love that so much. And it's very much like a statement piece. It definitely pops out like through your fishnets and
Yeah.
everything. And I mean, I haven't gotten my tattoo. I keep saying, but I keep like chickening out. I would assume though, because it's on your thigh, that it's a meteor, there's more cushion underneath. Maybe it didn't hurt as much, but like there's still like 5-6 hours.
Yeah. So like it's weird. Like I found like people that are like heavily tattooed, like myself, will be like, yeah, tattoos fucking suck. Like this hurts. And then
Mhm.
like the girls, like the infinity symbols are like, oh no, it's like a cat scratch. And like I think like the science maybe behind it is that like if you're getting like a tattoo like an infinity symbol or like a very little daisy or like any
Yeah.
basic tattoo that takes like under an hour, your adrenaline's there. You're not gonna feel it.
Yeah.
Once you're under that tattoo needle for so long, like it sucks. And like that's just the honest truth of tattoos. Like it sucks. It's like a
And
bunch of needles jamming into your skin and you
and it
can't move.
Yeah, and it has to do with your pain tolerance too. I'm one
Mm-hmm.
of those who have wanted a smaller tattoo for the longest time and then maybe gradually build up. I'm just afraid because, like you said, I've heard varying things. I've heard like it feels like a cat scratch. I've heard people say, "Oh, it hurts," like shit. So I've just heard so many things. But my first one is one that would classify under those that would take less than an hour. So maybe you kind of just talked me into that.
Yeah, I think
So
that's especially after like wrestling. Like I think that is the signs. Like your adrenaline's up, you're not
yeah.
feeling it. My best friend, like her first tattoo took 20 minutes and she was like, oh, that was nothing. What were you complaining about? And I just side-eyed the hell out of her. I was like, what did you just say to me?
Tell me about your Taylor Swift inspired tattoo you got earlier this year.
Oh my God. Okay. We got to set you down for that one. So I am a big Taylor Swift fan.
Yes, yes.
I've been Swift since 2008. Like I'm not recent on the bandwagon here, but I got a lover tattoo for the lover era because it's probably my favorite. Um, It's just like a little lollipop that says lover in the lover font.
Yeah.
I love it a lot, as I've always loved Taylor Swift since 2008, since the debut album.
Yeah, so kind of talk us through more about your fandom. See, I'm one, first four albums, great. I kind of fell off after Red a little bit. Besides, I know her big hits, obviously, but after Red, I kind of fell off a little bit, to be honest with you. But I still think she's a lovely artist, and obviously she's a big following. Tell us more about your fandom and why you love Taylor Swift. I know she's a big topic of convo, especially this last year.
Yeah, I've just was raised by like a single father in the deep south, and obviously we grew up with country music, and he's a single father of all three daughters, like all women. So he wanted to get into more country female artists, as he had daughters, so he wanted that representation for us. And when we were growing up, this up and coming young country music star, so he was like, let me snag this Miranda Lambert, let me snag this Carrie Underwood, let me snag this Taylor Swift. And I guess Taylor Swift just resonated more with me. So I had her first debut album with the homophobic line in it. I wish I knew where that went, but I followed her throughout the years because like I kind of grew up with her, because even though she's almost like a decade older than me, like we all kind of grew up together because she was in the spotlight since 14, and each album I was just like, dang, like I guess every feeling ever is kind of like normal no matter like what platform you're at. And even when it was trendy to hate her, I still liked her and I defended her. And now that it's trendy to like her, everybody's
Yeah.
like, oh, of course you like her. And I'm like, I've been like her. I've
Yeah.
been like her.
You're an OG Swiftie.
Yes, and like I love all the new Swifties. I love their passion, but it's heartbreaking that all the girls in high school who made fun of me for defending Taylor Swift, especially the ones who were like, "Oh my god, like I hate 1989," or the people that dissed Reputation, and I was just like, "No, I love it. It's so good." All those people that made fun of me for liking Taylor got the tickets, and I didn't, and it's not fair. It's not fair.
I know, and I know she announced more. I don't even want to imagine that stress. I was stressing out because Luke Combs had a similar thing. You had to sign up for pre-sale, and then you would have to get accepted or waitlisted. That was still stressful for me, and that wasn't even to the magnitude of Taylor Swift. So I can't even imagine that.
It was so bad. It's just like how are we filtering these people? Because like how are the girlies that made fun of me getting tickets and I'm not?
I don't know. I don't know, girl. And then resale is like triple. Yeah, I know. I
Mm.
I know. I've seen people pay a ridiculous amount. I mean, if you're rich, I guess good for you, but still it's still sad though that like people like yourself, like genuine OG Swifties. I mean, she'll probably announce more dates, but so I'm crossing my fingers for you, Brittany.
Thank you. Maybe resell's my chance in this time.
Yeah, maybe. What would you say are, obviously you're a fan of the Lover album, maybe it comes from these, but what would you say your top 3 Taylor songs ever?
Oh my god. I'm sweating. I'm sweating. Um, think number one coming in at all time is Haunted. Dang, this is hard. Okay, so Haunted's at number one.
Okay.
I think we're gonna from Speak Now. I think at number two, it's actually gonna be a little Fearless moment. I really like Tell Me Why. Nobody likes that song. Anytime I see them ranking it on TikTok, they put it last, and I want to punch them in the throat, but I don't. I really like it's like tied between New
Okay.
Year's Day and Mary's song now for number three.
Okay, I will accept a tie because she has a very expansive history, and that's me trying to narrow it down between my favorite artists. So like I get you. And so I don't know the band, but I've seen that you've attended a concert like 23 or 24 times, I think, for the same band. Can you tell me more? Because you're obviously a concert enthusiast now. Tell me
Yes.
more about this concert experience, this band, and then your favorite concert experience overall.
So the band that I have seen the most amount of times is Motionless in White. I think I've lost I have a track in my phone. I think we're coming up on, I'm seeing them for the 27th time. I follow this band since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
Like back from when they had like 20 people in the crowd, and now like they're doing sold out shows all across the world. And I'm just like, oh, my babies. Anytime I meet them, they're just like, oh my God, hey, Brittany. And I'm just like, ugh. They're so sweet, and I love them. And I go back every time because they're like huge Halloween enthusiasts. And they fall each October, like they tour each October, and they do like a big Halloween show. So that is what I'm doing in October. I obviously have to see my favorite band. Motionless in White's definitely my favorite band, and such a great live artist. But I think my favorite concerts live is A Day to Remember.
Tell us, because obviously that's a whole different, not totally different environment. What about that concert experience and hearing their music lives puts it at the top for you?
I don't know, every time like I've been to A Day to Remember, I'm just like, what the fuck is happening? Like one of the first times I've seen them, they crowd surfed Christmas trees. Every time they're throwing toilet paper at us, or they like I have like a beach ball I can't even wrap my arms around. Maybe it's because I'm small or the ball is big or both. And they were just like bouncing them in between us and them. They've always had like such a good like stage presence. Like each show's just fun. Each time I'm just like, oh, what's happening now? What are we doing this time, guys?
Yeah, I love concerts as well. I always get the post-concert depression, after every time, and then just look forward to the next one. But obviously, I'm so glad you brought it up. You're an emo girl. You also seem like a spooky girl as well. It is officially spooky season. So kind of in that theme, do you have any memorable or favorite Halloween costumes that you've worn in the past?
I think it's all of my specialty gear I've had made for October's, because I do take Halloween very serious.
You do.
I have a custom made Chucky Brittany Jade gear. It has it's like the spandex overalls and like a Good Guys t-shirt, and I do like little scars on my face, and the back says like Brittany Jade. I have a very expensive and intricate Pennywise costume as well, like gear. That one's really fun. It's a little uncomfortable because it has like the full Pennywise like clown sleeve.
Yeah.
And then I am breaking out some new ones this October. I was very selective on my October bookings because I do have a lot of vacations planned. So each show I wanted to have like a special gear for.
Okay. We look forward to that. We look forward to that. Now, let me ask you a question, and hear me out. So witches are obviously often associated with Halloween and spooky season. Your last name is Jade, which is a popular crystal that kind of fits into the witchy realm. Would you consider yourself a witchy gal?
As far as like all the girls that like are into like crystals and astrology and stuff, I'm not really. I don't know I don't know like which crystals are which.
Okay.
I don't know astrology very well. I don't know the signs or like anything. My younger sister Madison's like really into like crystals and astrology and love spells and these candles. And I'm like, hell yeah, girl, get your witch on.
I'm curious. So that kind of answers my question because I'm one of those who's into crystals and astrology. So I was really curious. A lot of crystals are good for manifesting. So kind of on that realm, looking towards the future, what are some of your personal and professional goals that you're manifesting, that you're yearning to accomplish next?
I think like the next up, I'm really manifesting more Ring of Honor appearances, just like as a personal goal. I've done like a lot of work for other companies, but that's where I felt most at home at. I'm definitely still a new wrestler. Like I haven't even hit 3 years of wrestling, 3 years of matches. I still have a long time to get seasoned before I am offered a contract, I do believe. But I would love more appearances so I can get those reps in. I can get that experience. And obviously that's the company I'd love to be signed to one day. I do think I have a little bit more time on the independents, get some reps in, like learn a little bit more. There's so much to learn, and there's so much that I do have to learn and that I have questions about. But I would say manifesting some more Ring of Honor appearances.
It's funny though, because at the same time that you're learning, you're also kind of teaching some of the newer performers too that you've been working with. So you've been the vet in a couple of situations. How is that for you? You know, when you're still learning yourself, like you said, it's been about 2.5 years since your debut. So you're still kind of learning yourself, but there have been some situations where you're the vet and kind of you're the one maybe leading the dance, as they say. So how have you kind of approached that unique situation?
I definitely, every time I was just like, man, like this is weird because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But that's how, like, in my head, I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, how am I supposed to tell this person what they're doing? But the way, like, I kind of approach it is in like full transparency. Like a couple of my first matches, I was wrestling a girl where I was big dog like hell, and I was talked down to, like, very mean, very condescending. And when I started to be the vet, I was just like, okay, so I'm gonna learn from that. Like, I'm not gonna dwell on it. I'm not gonna do blah blah blah. Like, I mean, obviously, I hate that girl, whatever. But I was just like, every time I vet, I want to be the person that I wish I had for my first couple of matches. And that was like nurturing and reassuring and like never condescending. Because once you get out there, like, your nerves are everywhere. Like, you can't be mad at somebody for forgetting. Like, if it's somebody's like first singles match, they're respectfully shitting themselves. They're scared.
Yeah.
Like, it's like a whole new like life out there. So I try to be like reassuring. I'm always talking to them. That's one thing that, like, I do need to work on, is like how to cover up talking. And talk them through it, like, make sure that they're comfortable with everything. And like, the number one thing I always try to like do is never let them feel stupid, because wrestling's not easy, man.
No.
And like that one girl like made me feel really stupid, and we should never feel that way. We should feel safe in wrestling. We should be at home with our family. So every time I do have to vet, like, that's how I approach it. Like, I want to be welcoming. I want to be nice. I want to help them, because like there's not like a lot of girls out there, really. And that's what I want to be like. That, like, every time like I've worked with Emily, like, I never want her to feel stupid ever, because at one, like, I feel like we all forget this, at one point we were that new person, we were on our first match. Like, we have to take that step.
Yeah, and I feel like especially too early on, like you said, you're still trying, like, early on, you're still trying to gather your footing, you know, and complete these first, whether it's your first singles match, your first tag team match, you know, going in, you've had all these training, but it's definitely another element when you're in front of a crowd, and it's, you know, it's not just training, it's not just practice, you know. So I'm glad that, you know, I'm sorry for obviously early on, you know, wrestling itself is very, and in anything really, you know, obviously there's a lot of drama, but I absolutely love that you've kind of turned that into a positive, and now you're turning it so you can cultivate, you know, a better environment for the girls kind of after you, instead of still coming up, you know. So that's definitely huge, and a big part of learning that is obviously gaining your confidence. You've talked about how confidence is one of the things that you've kind of gained, that you're gradually gaining, but kind of looking back so far, in what other ways do you think that you've grown as a person and as a competitor since you've been in the wrestling game?
I do. I think, like, definitely number one's confidence. Like, I've watched back a couple of my like really, really old matches, and like, you could tell like that was a scared little girl in there. My footwork's better, like my charisma's better. Just like overall like ring awareness is better. But and again, in transparency, like at the beginning of this year, like, I didn't really love wrestling the way that I used to, and I thought about quitting. After like the whole thing in New Jersey, and like just all the drama that like occurs, because this is such a cutthroat business, and all like the rumors and everything. I was like, I hate it. I'm done. I blah blah blah. And then I just cried to a bunch of my friends, Emily, one of them, and a couple of other wrestlers. Do want to give a shout out to, obviously, Drew Hood, because he was just like, you know, like, why are you quitting? Like, you can do this. And I just took a couple mental health weeks, said whatever, and then in the past like couple months, I've been having fun again. So Drew Hood kind of pulled me out of that, and I watched back like a match before like my mental breakdown, and like I was just dead eyed. I was just going through the motions of wrestling. Like, I didn't smile once. Like, I could tell like I was very sad. And then I watched back my match with Drew. I was smiling, I was laughing, I was giggling, like I was having fun. And so I've really like learned how to have fun in wrestling. Like, I used to walk out and be like, okay, gotta do this move, and now I'm just like, yeah, we'll get to the move. We'll get there. Fun.
Yeah, and I feel like especially recognizing because wrestling is definitely not only physical but mental, emotional as well. You know, there's a lot of elements going on. So I think that that's fantastic that you, because not a lot of people are able to recognize it. Like you said, a lot of people will go through the motions for months and years and never do anything about it to you. So I'm glad that you were kind of able to take that time away, reflect, do whatever else you got to do to get yourself better, and then, you know, obviously you decided to come back. Not everybody does. We're obviously glad that you're back and kind of in better condition. So and that's too, it's not, moves and stuff are important too, but it's also having fun. You don't want to hate what you do, you know. So that's a huge thing. Sorry, you were gonna say something.
No, you're totally fine. I was just like agreeing with you. I was just like, yeah, like I feel like once you start like training and everything, you're always taught like wrestling owes you nothing. And that's
Yeah.
true. Wrestling does not owe us anything. And then like I was just I have a great partner as well, and I was just like crying to him about it. And he was like, yeah, but also like wrestling owes you not like you don't owe like wrestling doesn't owe you anything, but you also don't owe wrestling anything, especially at the cost of your mental health.
Yeah.
And I was just like, dang. Because like it's always taught to us that wrestling doesn't owe us anything. And true, it does not owe us anything, but we do owe it to ourselves to take care of our mental health. And it's just not talked about enough. It's just like wrestling, 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 go, go, go,
Yeah.
go, go.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, how are we doing, guys? Are we all okay? Like, do we need to talk about it? Are we good?
Yeah, it's definitely hard. A lot of, especially when not gonna dwell on it, but like a lot of backstage drama, propel stuff, mixed with your personal life, it's just a whole thing. But like we said, I'm glad that you are back on track and you're continuing to grow and you're continuing to learn. Like you've said, a lot of your growth can also be partially attributed to the people that you're surrounded with. You've had awesome learning opportunities, whether it be in training, AEW, Ring of Honor, the Indies. So what would you say then has been the best piece of advice within the wrestling space that you've been given, and who did it come from?
So, it was actually one of my like I think first 10 matches. I was wrestling Samantha Starr, um, who also when I was working with her never made me feel stupid. Um, so it's awesome to see her in NWA. So she never like that's when I was taking like my couple weeks of mental health break, I was like, okay, like let's think what are times that I did appreciate. And I do appreciate the girls that never made me feel dumb. So it was Samantha Starr. I will give her all that credit. She never makes you feel stupid. She talks to you the whole time. She's, like a girl's girl. But I was like shaking before my entrance because obviously I'm so green. I'm green to this day right now, but I was
Yeah.
like nerd. And I was like shaking, and Ricky Morton came up behind me and tapped me on the back, and he went, "Hey, remember, have fun out there, okay?" And then I just turned to him, and it didn't register in that moment. Like, I hate to say it, but it did take me a couple years to register what he said to me. But it was Ricky Morton. It's like, "Hey, remember, have fun out there. You're living your dream, kid." And then in training, I was just like, let's just have fun. Like I think that's like lost in translation, like how that Canadian destroyer spot got like destroyed, if you will, online, people hating it. It
Yeah.
was fun. We're like I feel like we've just forgotten to have fun.
Yeah, and I know you've been having a lot of fun with your in-ring character. You've described her as the shit, kind of like Puss in Boots. It's also got that emo twist on it. So when it comes to your ring gear and your character presentation, you talked a little bit about it before of kind of your Halloween stuff, but kind of just in general, what are your general sources of inspiration? Where do you look to for inspiration for your gear that are obviously non-Halloween centric?
Um I think it's just like who I like. I don't really have like a designated like gimmick, if you will, like how
Yeah.
Chris Statler did the alien Abaddon is
Oh yeah.
awesome little zombie thing. Like I didn't have like a designated character like that because it's just genuinely like just authentic self. Like I'm very much a shithead in real life. Like I always have a smart remark back, I always have like a one liner to tell you. And like you in my first like couple years you really didn't see that much. You'd see it here and there when I was actually having fun. Like I wrestled Sadie Lee Moss once and I jumped up and taunted her into something, like made her the funny face, and like that is so me. Just like doing like silly stuff with like Drew in my match. We came up with like a bunch of stuff and we were having fun. And just a lot of like taunting. Like it's just a lot of like authentic me. if that makes sense. But then authentic me was also raised by like Gold Dust.
Yeah, I know. I heard.
Oh yeah, that's my dude. So the first time I was ever backstage at AEW, like I was just like, as he walked past me, and like one time he hugged me and said bye, and I literally had to go call my dad. I had to go call my father.
I think that that's so funny, you know. I don't know if you were been around since he's been back. I know Jeff Hardy's there. I know Jeff was huge for you. You know, Lita, Jazz, Mickey James obviously are
Yeah,
huge for you, but you've been backstage in the locker room with some of the people that you like loved. You've been on the same poster as Lita, you know.
yeah. Like I was gagged when I saw that because like I used to try to hang my thong out of my pants for the like
Mhm.
I still wear cargo pants to this day because like I loved the Hardys and everything. Like I was like my dad was a kid that had a kid, so I was raised by that television. Like he, has a job, he has to go outside and work in the shed. So he put the TV on and that's what's on TV. So like in a way like that, like not only did it inspire Brittany Jade, but it inspired Brittany more. Like that's genuinely how I am in real life.
Yeah. Two more questions for you, kind of on that same line of inspiration. You know, like you said, you look to a lot of places. What can you tell us more about the thought process and story behind your favorite piece of ring gear? Personally, I love your pink and black gear. But I know everybody has their own personal favorites. So what is the story behind your personal favorite ring gear?
So my personal favorite ring gear is probably my first set of gear I ever had made. You have to really dig deep in the arsenal to find pictures of it, but it's black and white striped and it has like green and purple elements in it as like a ode to Beetlejuice because like real life Britney is kind of like the personality is kind of like Beetlejuice, where it's like very in your face, like
Yeah.
funny jokes right off the bat, like witty. So I wanted my first gear to be something that like I loved. I no longer wear it because it doesn't like fit right anymore because I'm smaller than I was when I started. I thought about reselling the gear. I posted for sale and then I took it away because I was just like, I can't get
A little
rid of
bit
this.
sentimental, yeah.
Absolutely. It's like one of like my favorite gears. I don't wear it anymore because it doesn't like fit as well, but
I
it's
I
like a Beetlejuice.
Yeah, I think that that's really cool, you know, and kind of to close things out, talking about kind of things that you're proud of. We do what's called a watch list here on WrestleZone. So kind of over the course so far, you know, you're still learning, but is there a particular match of you that you feel really proud of and why?
Um, So my match that I'm most proud of. Unfortunately, we don't have footage of it because it wasn't a recorded show. It was actually a match against my partner. Um, because it was like my most fun match that I've had in a while. Like I genuinely had fun. I didn't have to think about what was next. I didn't have to think about my selling, and I didn't have to think about ring awareness because I was having so much fun. It was coming naturally, and I wish so much that it was a recorded match because I'm so proud of it because you could see like from the entrance like smiling. Like I like also was kind of biased because my partner's standing right across from me. Um but a match that's like filmed, I guess that I'm proud of would be like the Drew Hood match. It's on like it's like a 20-minute long match, but like the beginning of it's like just a bunch of funny, like I stole his vest, I chest bumped him, I mocked him. It was just so fun. And that was the first time I had fun in the ring in a while. So I'm very proud of that match. And also, Drew pushed me to take a bunch of bumps that I'm not typically comfortable with. So not only was he pushing me out of my comfort zone, like mentally, he was also pushing me like physically out of my comfort zone. So Drew Hood's a girl's girl. I hate to say it. I bully him all the time, but that's a girl.
I love that though, you know, Brittany, you have just like I don't give an F energy, but you're also having fun. And I feel like that's when we do the greatest work is when we're having fun, you know. We
Yeah.
overthink things all the time, but some of the greatest things are just when, you know, maybe you go off kilter or you're just genuinely having a good time, like you said, or you're doing like the gold dust impression or something. Have you done a gold dust impression in the ring before? I know you did a lot of
Um,
it growing up. I'm curious if you ever pulled it out before in the ring.
done it, but I'm back in training again.
Okay.
I'm back in training. I left briefly because I got my IUD removed and that
Yeah.
sucks. So obviously no bumping when you do that, girlies.
Yeah.
Any other girlies that hear that, don't make my mistake because you will be shelved for a little bit. But now like I'm back and recovered. I've been working on some ode to gold dust stuff.
Hmm.
So we might see that popped out a little bit, because I want to have fun again, man. And I have most fun when like I'm channeling my little inner gold dust. So we might see a little older gold dust soon, maybe.
We'll have to. I'm looking forward to that, just to see you put your own like twist on it. Maybe she'll put on. I mean, Halloween is right around the corner. I'm just saying, like face paint is like the Halloween's a perfect excuse to go full gold dust. I'm just saying, Brittany, it's
It's
fine.
fabulous.
Just a suggestion. I think it would be fabulous though. But Brittany, before we let you go, can you please? Well, we already know where they can find you. They can follow you at said Hooligan pretty much everywhere. But let the people know where they can support you and everything too.
Um, Perfect. Sad Hooligan on everything. There is a Snapchat at Sad Hooligan. That is not me, guys. That's not me. Um, I have my own pro wrestling tees store. I have a lot of designs on there, like one of me as a Monster High doll, my bloody nose. So check those out. That's a great way to support me. Um, and then just I don't know, follow me. Just watch what I'm doing because we're out here having fun, guys.